What's up, YouTube? Brian here with Team D-Boyz Infinity, and I'm with Jonathan Knight, who just won the locals for Yu-Gi-Oh! Day, playing his Red Eyes deck. So, why don't you show us what you played?
Thank you. Well, first off, let me just point out the irony that I won with a Red Eyes deck, but they gave me a mat with Dark Magician and Blue Eyes.
So unfortunately, no Red Eyes mat.
The irony is lost on me, but besides that, I've been playing with this deck for a couple of years now. I've been coming here now for about, 2 years? And I've always used Red Eyes. I love Red Eyes. I've loved it since I first saw it in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. And I just kept playing it. And I actually when I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Clash of Vengeance just came out. Well, not Clash of Vengeance. Clash of Rebellion, excuse me, just came out. So Red Eyes Support had just come out, so I picked the best time to go into Red Eyes.
But yeah, especially Insight.
The
card's amazing.
Yeah, Insight for my Invasion of Vision.
As well.
All those fusions really help make this deck really fast and very powerful. This build I have is more of a fusion and synchro build, but it does have a little bit of XYZs. But enough of my rambling. Let's get to the cards. So the first off, I play two of our Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon. This card is the standard Gemini card. When you first summon it, it's a normal monster, and you have to wait a turn. But most of the time, you're using this either as fusion material for some of the bigger monsters, or just to keep your opponent away from your life points. Next up, I play the two vanillas of the original Red Eyes. You see right here, I have the Joey starter deck kind, because I'm that hardcore of a Red Eyes person. I don't run three because that tends to clog up the deck. These two work very well together. You want to have at least 4 level 7s in your deck for either synchro summoning or fusion XYZ summoning or fusion summoning. Next, I've run one Arc Brave Dragon from the Felgrain set. This card is fantastic. What you want to do with this card is you want to have this card in your graveyard along with at least one level 7 or 8 dragon type. Usually you're special summoning one of these cards during your opponent's turn, but he's also great for summoning one of the bigger monsters. The level 8 fusion is great for this card because you can get him on the field quickly, and sometimes your opponent doesn't know that that's going to happen, and that just throws another monkey wrench to their plans. I run one Summon Skull. I don't use the Gemini Summon Skull. I have before. It is a good card, but when you want to run a fusion, you want to get the fusions out as quickly as possible. You want to use him because you can't use the fusion from the deck since it's considered an effect monster. I personally believe Konami wanted to use that Gemini monster, but they messed up with the wording. But that's why people use run Summon Skull. But again, only one because, again, he calls it the deck. I won one Red Eyes Dragon Impact. I just like to call it Red Eyes Meteor Dragon because that's what it's called in Japan. This is a great card, not just because he's good for fusion summoning the big monster, but he also protects your Red Eyes monsters. So what I like to do is put him in the graveyard and then special summon him out when I have say Flare Metal, one of the Red Eyes fusion monsters out with what I use Red Eyes fusion with, and he protects all of them. He also protects Darkness Metal. Speaking of Darkness Metal, one Darkness Metal. I mean, come on, really? It's Darkness Metal.
Any dragon deck's got to play.
Any dragon deck is going to play this card. He is a monster reborn in monster form. He reborns all the dragon types. He brings them all back. He's an immediate threat, and he's got a nice little attack base too with 2800. Next up, I run. I run two. I run two Blackstone Legends. I don't run three because I don't need three. I actually don't usually draw these cards very often, but they're good to get the big monsters out. They're good also for when I need to banish a monster to bring him out. But again, they keep the deck moving, they keep the synergy flowing, and it's a good card. And also now, since it's gotten cheaper, it's affordable. But when I got these cards, they were like, I want to say $30-$40 each.
Yeah, they were insane.
Now they're a whole lot cheaper. So these deck cards are actually viable. Red Eyes Retro. I like Red Eyes Retro over Red Eyes Wyvern, mainly because he saves Red Eyes. Say any of these 3 cards, any of these cards, these 5 cards, let me see if I can count. These 5 cards get destroyed, he's in my hand, I special summon him, these cards come back on the field. It's a great card. It's a level 4, so I can use him to go into my level 4 XYZ monsters. And I don't use a second effect very often, but it is handy during clutch plays. Keeper of the Shrine, good for any dragon deck. Any of your dragons get destroyed, or sent to the graveyard. You special summon him from your hand or your graveyard, and he keeps your opponent away from your life points, and he counts as 2. So I can use him to single tribute to summon any of these cards right here. These 4 cards or Darkness Metal, and I've done that many times. And I've actually, which prevents me from having to banish a monster, although it costs me a tribute. But in the long run, it's worth it for me. It saved me it's won me duels. And now for the non-dragons, Max C. I run 1 Max C. I thought about running 2. My deck is pretty fast. Oftentimes I dump a lot of cards into my graveyard, so my deck is pretty thin. Usually, sometimes my opening turns I've dumped at least roughly 5 or 6 cards in the graveyard, which is thinned it out, which is getting me cards I needed. But Max, he's great for clutch plays. He's great if you've emptied out your hand, because a lot of times I'll find myself without cards in my hands except for this card. I dump Max C, and my opponent has to special summon and replenish my hand. Effect Veiler. This is a great card because, again, you can stop your opponent from making big plays. It's also a tuner, which is good for this deck because I usually need a tuner to go into my synchro monsters. But my main tuner is Glow Bulb. Glow Bulb's a great tuner for this deck.
Level 1 tuner.
It is probably one of the best tuners I've ever had because I can go into some huge monsters with level 7 or my level 7 to level 6 Red Eyes monsters. And the only downside is I have to mill a card, but most of the time I want to put cards in my graveyard, so very rarely have I actually milled a card that I didn't want in the graveyard. I'm going to go into my fusions. Want to do fusions?
Let's do spells.
Okay, we'll do spells. All right, spell cards. I run 2 Red Eyes Fusions. Red Eyes Fusion is a great card. Aside from its downside of you can't normal special summon. If you know what you're doing, what you have to do with this card, you have to plan ahead. You have to plan knowing that you're going to use this card, so you need to have a good back row. I like using it first turn because I basically kind of scout with this card. I usually bring up one of my fusion monsters that I know I can get back that I don't want to use late game to scout out what my opponent has, and I can easily bring it back now. But again, you get those big beat sticks out, and it makes the monster a Red Eyes Black Dragon. So usually I'll have that plus Return of Red Eyes, so I can just at least special summon out another monster. That way, if my opponent does get rid of my one monster, I'll have another one on the field. That's where he comes into play as well, because during my opponent's turn, I have another monster on the field, so now my monster isn't completely lonely. Red Eyes Insight.
This card's insane.
Well, okay, so I gotta be honest with you. When I first heard about this card, I was like, it's okay. I wish I had another monster, but it's decent. The card is, like you just heard, it's insane. It makes the fusion version of Red Eyes so much faster, because not only are you dumping cards in the graveyard, thinning out your deck, but you're getting the card you need, which is this card, or you're getting a trap card. And it's great for any version of Red Eyes. It's great for any version of Red Eyes, whether you're playing a fusion version, a tribute version, excuse me, not the tribute, the ritual version, or the one-hit OTK version, or just the exceed version. This card works in any version of the Red Eyes deck. It's a great card. You need to run these 2 or 3 of these cards. This version I ran 3, and it made my deck so much better. Turn of the Dragon Lords, a great standard card for Dragon decks. I only run 2 because it works well for my deck. Brings back any level 7 to 8 dragons. Enough said. 2 Twin Twisters.
Back row sucks.
Yep, I hate back rows. Great for Dark Magician decks. Any deck, but in any deck that relies on the back row. Twin Twister, and again, I get to pitch a card and sit in the graveyard, and then usually I can activate an effect. So again, great card. Claw of Hermos. Now this is a card nobody really sees a lot. It's easy to get rid of, but sometimes it's great for clutch plays, because I can make not just big beat sticks, massive, horrendously powerful beat sticks with this card. And also I can get another level 7 monster on the field. If I don't have any other monster in the field, the only catch is my opponent can't have one either. Poly. I use this as an alternative to Red Eyes Fusion in case I need to summon something from my hand. I can use monsters from my hand on the field. It's a great card, and I can also keep special summoning with it. 1 for 1. Good for the
For the rock.
for the rock and the glow up bulb. That's all I use it for. Dragon's Mirror, another fusion card. It's great for clutch plays. It's 1-me duels. That's how I usually get out some of my fusions that people don't expect, like First of Dragons or my second Arc Fiend. I'll just banish Summon Skull and one of my vanilla Red Eyes because I need my Geminis more than I need my vanillas. Raigeki, come on, I mean, you know what Raigeki does. It's Raigeki. It's a black hole without breaking up your cards. Without the downside. I mean, it's Raigeki. Dragon Ravine. I used to run Dragon Shrine. I like Dragon Ravine better because I can still keep using it the next turn, and it gives my opponent something else to think about when it's their turn, and something else that they have to expend resources getting rid of. Moving on to the traps. Oh, sorry. I use Storming Mirror Force and Quaking Mirror Force. These are my only Mirror Forces I use because I don't use regular Mirror Force because there's so many things I just protect against card destruction. It's better to either bounce it back or send it face down. Vanity.
That's it.
I love Vanity.
Vanities.
I love locking my opponent down with, like, say, like I bring out Arc Fiend Black Skull, and I'll pop Vanity, and then I can just go to town on them. I don't have to worry about the back row. I can just attack, or just if I don't want them to make a big play at any time to think or stall, I'll bring out Vanity. Bottomless. It's like, Bottomless is old. It's like a poor man's Solemn. It's good for clutch plays. It's good for getting rid of monsters. Solemn Warning. I don't use Strike because I like Warning a little bit better. Just the cost is a little bit higher, but it gets rid of the monsters quickly. Red Eye Spirit. A lot of people don't like this card. I don't understand why. It's a monster reborn for Red Eyes. The only downside is it's a trap card, but I can at least bring back any of my Red Eyes monsters except for B-Chick, but I don't use B-Chick. Return of the Red Eyes. Great card. Any Red Eyes monster I have on the field, I can special summon a normal type, and it's a continuous trap card. So I use that with Red Eyes Fusion, and I get all my normal monsters back.
The last two.
These are the last two. These are the stars on my deck. Deck Devastation Virus and Eradicated Epidemic Virus. These cards have won me multiple duels. They actually help pave the way for my win today. They destroy people's hands and decks. I have sent entire hands to the graveyard. Deck Devastation, I attribute one of my 2,000 or higher monsters, attack position monsters, and it sends all their 1,500 or lower monsters with attack to the graveyard. This one, Eradicator, I send a monster with 2,500 or more attack to the graveyard, and I can pick spells or traps, and then they have to send out the spells or traps to the graveyard. And both these cards last for 3 turns, so I get to look at their hand, they show me the card, and then they have to send it to the graveyard if it meets one of these stipulations. Fusions. I played 2 Arc Fiend Black Skulls. Great card. The first fusion, I actually pulled one when I first got my first booster pack. It's a great card. Can't activate card effects when he's attacking. And then you can burn for one of my normal Red Eyes in the graveyard. Great card. I play 1 Meteor Black Comet Dragon. I love this card because you can... This is the card I usually use to scout. I'll fusion summon him, dump usually Darkness Metal into the graveyard, and I'll burn him. I can immediately burn my opponent for 1,400. And he's a 3,500 level 8 beat stick, so Arc Brave worked with him. Return of the Dragon Lords worked with him. Black Dragon Sword, again, he makes the beat sticks. They immediately gain 1,000 attack, plus 500 extra attack and defense for every dragon on the field in the graveyard. First of Dragons, my stall card. Since most people usually run cards with monster effects, no one likes to get over him. No one can get over him. They can just hit him, but they can't really kill him unless you're a Blue Eyes. Star Venom Dragon. Now this card I don't play a whole lot, but I like to have in my deck for like clutch plays. His fusion summoning is kind of weird, but in this deck it can work. Sinks. Clearwing Synchro Dragon. He is a poor man's Crystal Wing Dragon because I don't have the ridiculous amount of money to get Crystal Wing. But if you ever want to replace it, ever want to want Crystal Wing, you could run it in this deck build. But I just don't have the money. But this card is actually a good substitute for him because it's good. And again, it's level 7, so you can use this card also as a fodder to XYZ summon. Hot Red Dragon Arc Fiend, great card. I usually use it to go as a transition to go in my big card, which is Hot Red Dragon Arc Fiend Abyss. This card negates all face-up cards. He's like Arc Fiend, but in sync form, because I can just attack, and if they activate a card, I can negate it. Level 4 XYZs. 101 Silent Honor Arc. Standard level 4 XYZ. I don't use him a whole lot anymore, but he's still a good card to work in clutch plays. Castell, again, another good card. Most people who run the level 4s run this card. Queen Dragon Jin, another good dragon type. I can get my dragons back. Most of them are vanilla, so their abilities being negated doesn't really bother me a whole lot. Number 11, Big Eye. Again, in standard XYZ, level 7. Good when I want to take a opponent's monster, and probably use that monster to tribute off to get one of my bigger monsters. And then my 2 Flare Metals. Great cards. Burn. I mean, and they're protected by they have built-in protection, so they can't be destroyed by a card effect. Now, this is my deck. This is what I use.
Thanks for the profile. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you have any comments, comment them down below, and make sure to subscribe to our channel. Thanks.
Bye.